No, I had to tell my girl, this ain't that. No, I don't want you back. Yeah, I'm just counting racks.
All right, today I'm going to go over 5 different things that have helped me this semester to keep a consistent sleep schedule, but also to improve my overall quality of sleep throughout this first semester so far. So number 1 is to give yourself more time to fall asleep than you need. The reason why you're going to do this, or you're going to want to do this, is because in college you can't always control the noise that you hear while you're trying to fall asleep. So whether that's the dorm room next to you or out in the hallway, people are doing stuff, right? These are things that are going to contribute to like you being kind of nervous, anxious, not settled when you're trying to go to bed. So because of this, just give yourself a little more time to settle in, or let the noise pass, and you'll be able to fall asleep on time and still get the amount of sleep that you would want. And obviously you're giving yourself just more time, because unlike when you're at home or in any other environment where you can control the noise that you hear, you're going to be getting just as much sleep, but you got to give yourself a little more time because, right, it's going to be harder to fall asleep in most cases. Number 2 is to turn the clock off. So once you know it's time to go to bed, what I would do is I set my alarm so I know that I'm going to be woken up the next morning at the right time. And now that I've seen the clock, I know it's time to go to sleep, I just turn the clock off. Because at that point, the clock doesn't really serve any purpose. You know you need to go to bed, so whether you have an assignment to finish or other stuff to do, you can finish it. But looking at the clock constantly while you're doing that is just going to make you even more anxious, like, oh my gosh, like it's been 30 more minutes and I'm still not going to sleep. Like, that doesn't help you. That's just going to make you more anxious than you need to be. You know you got something to finish. You got to finish it before you go to bed. So just finish it, wrap it up, and then just go to sleep. Don't look at the clock. Looking at the clock is going to make you more anxious. So once you have that alarm set, I think it'd really help you guys if you just don't look at your clock and don't constantly be reminded that you're going to bed really late. That's not going to help you calm down, and you're going to end up taking more time to fall asleep than if you were to just finish your task and then to try to just relax and fall asleep. Number 3 is to use a sleep mask. So because you have a roommate, and in some cases the light from the hallway might shine into your room depending on how big the slit is under the door, using a sleep mask is great because you can make your environment dark whenever you want. And because of that, it's going to make it a lot easier for you to be able to fall asleep whenever you want. So sleep mask, it's been huge for me over the past semester. And kind of going along with that, shout out to Noah Mefford here at Gustavus. He introduced me to mouth tape. So what mouth tape does is it makes it harder for you to breathe through your mouth when you sleep. Nasal breathing is much better when we're in kind of like recovery mode. We want to relax. We want to let our body do its thing. We're not running around. We're not doing physical activity. So nasal breathing is going to be what we want to increase. We want to do most of our breathing through our nose when we're in this kind of state, relaxed state. Mouth tape helps with that, right? Because when you sleep, your body's not going to be able to breathe through your mouth as much. It's going to force you to do nasal breathing. And in addition to that, I like it because I don't wake up with a dry throat anymore. I think because I'm not breathing through my mouth as much. So I'd really suggest that you guys try mouth tape. It's pretty cheap. You can buy it on Amazon, I think $9 for like 60 pieces. So yeah, mouth tape is a great tool. I think you guys should give it a shot. And then number 5 is to finish eating at least 2 hours before bedtime. So how I think of it is that, right, you can optimize your environment when you're sleeping. So whether that's the light, the sound that you hear, but in addition to that, you can optimize the state that your body's in and just make that consistent too. And that's what finishing eating at least 2 hours before bed did for me, and I think it could really help you guys too, is because, right, to get the best quality sleep, you want to be fully digested. This is something I talked about in one of my previous videos. You want to be fully digested by the time you go to bed, because your body can't digest food and also repair and do all the things that it needs to do, or at the very least, it's not going to be an efficient night of rest because you're not fully digested. When your body is fully digested, it's able to do all of the processes, repair whatever needs to be repaired. And if you have a full stomach when you go to bed, that's just hindering that process that needs to happen. So by finishing your meal at least 2 hours before bedtime, this is going to help you to improve the quality of your sleep. And at the same time, whenever it's time to go to bed, you're going to have that same feeling every night of like, all right, I'm not feeling super full, but I'm also not hungry because I ate at the same time pretty much every night. And I think that this helps contribute to you being able to just turn it off when you want to turn it off and slowly fall asleep and get a great night of rest. So these were 5 things that helped me this first semester of college to keep a consistent sleep schedule, but also just to consistently have high quality sleep. So number 1 was to give yourself more time to fall asleep, right? There's going to be noise, it's not going to be super quiet, and it's not always going to be an ideal environment to fall asleep in. So because of that, you want to give yourself a little more time to fall asleep. And then number 2 was to turn the clock off once you know it's time for bed. If you have a clock in your room and you're constantly looking at it, even as you're trying to calm down and get ready for bedtime, that's just going to be a constant reminder that it's really late, and that's just going to trigger that like anxiety in your head. It's going to work against you if you're trying to fall asleep as soon as possible. So set your alarm, finish what you got to finish, but don't look at the clock, turn it off, turn it over, so that that doesn't constantly make you anxious as you're trying to fall asleep. Use a sleep mask, because using a sleep mask, you can make it dark whenever you want. If you can make it dark, it's going to be pretty easy, much easier to fall asleep. Number 4 was try mouth tape. Mouth tape for me worked wonders, and I think for you guys too, you might like it a lot. It's going to make it easier to wind down when you're trying to go to sleep. That's how I use it. Like 15 minutes before I actually get into bed, I put it on because it makes me conscious of me breathing through my nose. Breathing through my nose, I relax. So then I'm able to get into bed and fall asleep a lot sooner than if I were sitting at the table breathing through my mouth. And then the last one was to finish eating at least 2 hours before bed, because then every night when you go to bed, your body is going to feel like it's in the same state. You're not going to be too full. You're also not going to be hungry. And because of that, it's also going to improve the quality of your sleep, because now your body can do the processes that it needs to do without having a full stomach and without having undigested food in there. So I hope these 5 tips help you guys out. I think sleep is such an important thing during college. This is obviously something you guys have heard. It's important for everyone. So these are tips that probably don't just apply in college. But yeah, these are 5 things that have really helped me to improve my sleep so far in college.